8 weeks ago, the greatest quarterback of all time made his debut on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In that game, he looked old, inaccurate, and washed up. The Saints dominated him left and right, play after play, putting him under pressure, picking him off. And people began talking. They said Tom Brady only came to Florida to retire in a nice, warm, tropical climate. What a mistake they made. I think Tom Brady hurt them. Since then, his performance can be best described as nostalgic. He's top 5 in all the meaningful passing stats and looks to be atop the NFC, save the Seahawks. The Saints were quaking in their boots leading up to this game. Their only hope was injuries to the Buccaneers receiving corps. Chris Godwin was gone. Mike Evans is always questionable. They may be able to squeak one out with their elite run defense. But then, a man once thought dead resurfaced wearing red. Antonio Brown is set to make his return to the NFL this Sunday. And the question now isn't if the Buccaneers will win. It's if the Buccaneers are going to hang 50 on the Saints in primetime. This game will look nothing like Week 1. And with the Seahawks facing the hungry Bills, the Buccaneers have a very legitimate shot of claiming the 1 seed in the NFC. The return of Michael Thomas doesn't matter. The Buccaneers will dominate this game on both sides of the ball, and Antonio Brown will remind us why he is one of the best receivers to ever do it. But that's enough for me. Tristan, what do you think is going to happen in this rematch for NFC South supremacy?
The only thing nostalgic about the first half of the season for the Bucs is Brady shitting the bed against the Giants, almost losing a game. But I digress. First, I want to say I do not care that Antonio Brown is playing. I don't care that Chris Godwin is coming back and his broken fingers
allegedly
fine and he's catching balls again. Well, he's allegedly. It looks like he's coming back as of right now. Antonio Brown is not going to have an effect on the outcome of this game. He played one game last year and threw a bag of gummy dicks at some cops. That's all he did last year. He isn't in his right mind. The Saints are going to tear the Buccaneers secondary apart with Michael Thomas returning off injury. Drew Brees will finally have him back. The offensive player of the year last year, and Alvin Kamara, who needs to be talked about more. Alvin Kamara is the greatest running back catching the ball out of the backfield that we have ever seen. And I do not want to hear any Christian McCaffrey stands in the backfield saying that it's Christian McCaffrey. Kamara is on pace for 1,270 receiving yards and will likely reach 1,000 rushing yards. I think it's like 985 the pace right now, so not exactly. But he's had an insane year receiving the ball out of the backfield. No one is doing it better than him. He is the key to this game, I believe, with Devin White and Levante David being the two fastest interior linebacker duo in the NFL. I think Drew Brees and Sean Payton are going to look at the Giants game, see the success the Giants had running the ball in the interior, see the success Daniel Jones had getting the ball out quickly. If the Giants, who had Daniel Jones at quarterback, a bottom 10 quarterback in the NFL, Isaiah would probably say a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL, he was annihilating the Bucs. Imagine what Drew Brees is going to do with the best running back in the NFL right now, former offensive player of the year. Daniel Jones missed 3 deep balls. All 25 of his completions were virtually underneath, and all he had to do was not turn the ball over, and they beat Tampa Bay in a landslide. Drew Brees isn't making these mistakes. They're going to win this game, and is going to be in dominant fashion. I will say, there is a slight chance I could see the Bucs winning this game, but that would require them to score first. And if they don't score first, and if the Saints get out to a lead, I don't think they look back from there.
I can't believe I am being forced to put up with this stupidity week in and week out. It feels at this point like blind hatred of Tom Brady and by association glorifying his opponents. I'm not quite sure where it's coming from. I don't know why Giants fans don't like Tom Brady. You beat him in 2 Super Bowls. But let's address a few of those points before I move on. 1. You want to bring up Antonio Brown's mental issues. Played well in the game he had last year, got suspended by the NFL, shadow suspended. He's living with Tom Brady right now. He is living with someone who can keep his head down, keep his head level. He is going to be the 2nd or 3rd option. Do you know who the Saints' 3rd string cornerbacks are? It's a trick question. No one does. They change every week. They bounce back and forth between their practice squad. Those guys are going to be guarding Antonio Brown. Next, let's talk about Alvin Kamara. I'm sorry that you feel this way, that you think he is the best receiving back of all time. But LaDainian Tomlinson is so much better than him in terms of that. I can't believe you even said that. That's flat out stupid. That's a you don't know football quote right there. But then there's Christian McCaffrey. I'm not going to argue about Christian McCaffrey because this is a Saints Buccaneers video, which leads to my 3rd point. Why are you talking about the Giants? This is a good football game, Tristan, something neither New York football team has been involved in this year. So let's step away from those for a second. The Buccaneers have one of, if not
They
the
lost.
best
They
rushing
should have
defense.
beat the Bucs in a landslide, and that happened to be the Bucs' last performance.
They should have beat
That's
the
why I'm
Buccaneers in
bringing
a
it up.
landslide. They lost to the Buccaneers, Tristan. I'm sure you say, oh, if they had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, they would have won. They don't. They have Daniel Jones. It's not a should have beat him in a landslide. He played like he
Who
does.
do the Saints have?
Keep
Drew
your mouth
Brees.
shut. And Drew Brees has not been all that wow this year. With the exception of Kamara, he has not been that exceptional in the passing game. But no,
He also hasn't had
let's
Michael
take
Thomas.
a look at Michael Thomas since you want to bring up mental issues. Michael Thomas has had an injury and then fought a team captain in practice the week he was scheduled to come back. Do you really think they're going to want to make him a focal point of their offense week 1? Do you think Sean Payton, an authoritarian who is trying to recover from the shame of Bounty Gate still has that hanging over his head, is going to want to have players pushing him around in the locker room? No. Michael Thomas will not be the number 1 receiver of the Saints this game. They've got better options out there. Whether that be due to injury or character issues, who knows? But I know he is not going to eat up targets. The fact that you think, though, that it's going to be a dominant game in the Saints' favor when the Buccaneers dominated the best team in the NFC not named the Seattle Seahawks is laughable. If anything, you could say the Buccaneers were looking ahead to the Saints when they played the Giants last week. I just can't believe what I'm hearing. It sounds like hate and vitriol, and I don't quite understand. I thought you would have liked Tom Brady now that he's departed New England and is showing the world what the Patriots dynasty is without him.
Well, I would just want to say Ladainian Tomlinson is not the greatest receiving back of all time. His best receiving season is 725 yards and 4 touchdowns.
There it is, ladies and
Alvin
gentlemen.
Kamara
The
is
I don't
sitting
know
at-
football quote right there. The I looked at his stats and therefore I think I know that Alvin Kamara is better. You're delusional. LT is the best receiving back of all time.
By
There is
what
no debate.
metric?
If anyone wants to go in the comment section of this video, this video may not get the venues, and crucify this man, by all means. But let's talk about Antonio Brown for a second.
It's okay to be wrong, Isaiah.
Antonio Brown is coming off a very long period of respite. And some of that may be good, but some of that may be bad. I will not blindly say, oh, he's still going to be in tip-top performance. I will say the NFL being the most physically punishing league of all the major sports, it sometimes is a good thing to take a year off. Gronk took some time off, and at points in this season, he has looked like his old self again, despite having gruesome injuries, which would have ended his career if he kept playing. But looking at Antonio Brown, what I think he'll do, in their one game with the Patriots last year together, Tom Brady and Antonio Brown connected 4 times for 56 yards and a touchdown. But I think Tom Brady is a bit more desperate to prove Antonio Brown is a worthwhile acquisition. That paired with the fact that the Saints are not going to be able to give him the attention he deserves, and I think his numbers are going to be substantially better than they were against the Dolphins last year. I predict he's going to see 9 targets, 7 catches, finish with around 96 yards, and end up with a touchdown. Brand, I'm flexible on the touchdown. The Buccaneers like passing it to Mike Evans or their big tight ends in the end zone. I get that. But the statement that he's going to be a non-factor is comedic.
As I'm saying, I don't think he's going to cause the Bucs to win the game because I don't think the Bucs are going to win the game. I think the Saints, also, the Bucs have a very good run defense, the best run defense in the NFL. But the Saints have the 3rd best run defense in the NFL. And the Giants have a very good run defense. And you saw what they did to the Bucs. The Bucs weren't able to get 3rd and shorts or 2nd and mediums and able to take as many shots downfield as they like to. They didn't open up the play action game like they probably would have wanted to. And I think the Saints are going to prevent that from happening. And it's going to limit the Bucs' ability to pass the ball down the field early in the game. And that's where I think
Tristan,
the
Mike Evans
Saints,
was
like
playing
the Giants,
hurt.
are going to get out to a lead, and the Bucs aren't going to be able to come back from it.
You're obsessed with the Giants game. I don't quite get it. Like, if you want to go a week further and look at what they play like against good teams, I'd be understanding of that. But their number 1 receiver, Mike Evans, was playing a little bit banged up, had only 5 catches. You expect more than that from him. And then they had to focus on guys like Rob Gronkowski. And Ronald Jones is a bit banged up too, hence why Leonard Fournette was seeing a bulk of the workload in the backfield. Not taking away from the Giants' run defense. I'm just saying, if you think this is the same thing at all, this game, the personnel they've got, and the game plan they've got going against the Saints, you're delusional. You're trying to equate 2 things which don't equate.
Agree to disagree, but what I do think is interesting is it appears this year that Mike Evans, he hasn't been as dominant as you may have expected him to be, because when I heard that Mike Evans would be getting Tom Brady, I was thinking this guy's going to he's going to be the player of the year. He looks spectacular with Jameis Winston, the turnover machine. So I think it's a little interesting how they have.
You realize that Jameis Winston, the turnover machine, led the NFL in passing yards last year and was top 5 in touchdowns, right?
I understand that.
They were throwing it,
a lot of
Tristan.
interceptions.
They were slinging that thing around. But I truly don't see the Saints being able to stop the Buccaneers passing attack. And hey, good for the Saints run defense. Congratulations, you're good at what you do. But at the end of the day, Ronald Jones is not what's going to beat you with the Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady has looked like Tom Brady, which is the highest praise I can give him. That has been our show. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. I am also considering setting up a website for Thick Men Inc. Very official. So let us know what you think about that down in the comments. Fancy. And we will see you later.